Hello everybody, in this video I will share with you a set of important tips that can help you out in PvP. We're going to go quite a lot of them, so we're going to go quickly and one by one. Let's start. First of all, when you put spawners, well, it depends, but in many case situations you want to put your spawners not visible in plain sight. The reason for that, because enemies want to tag them and basically going to be usable at some point where you actually need them. It actually, by the way, make enemies a bit panic because, they're actually playing well, you are hiding things, and this will cause them to try to kind of roam around and try to search more things you actually put there and basically waste their time. Or sometimes I do use it to make them panic, so just they see it, they spend time, try to eliminate it while I'm actually doing something on another place. Another thing is think about the winning condition, how you plan actually to win the game, and of course your role. For example, if you plan to defend and you're playing with random, just stay there. So, signal them that you're here in order to defend the base. And think about how you actually plan to win the game. And if you're not an attacker, you're not communicating, it's going to be a bit harder to try to support your team with their direction of winning. If you see them kind of signaling that they want to go with the redstone launcher, support them with their redstone improvement, and so on. Now make sure to secure your gates if you are defending. The reason for that, even if you put two gates one after the other, if you're nearby or your teammates, your allies are nearby, they're going to open automatically. And enemies can just get in. They can actually bait you towards it. So even if you put two, they will open one after the other. One of the things to do it is create basically kind of a lure, basically two set of walls apart from each other, each one has its gate, or maybe just the other one has a gate. So you won't need actually to, if they do actually breach the base, they're still going to find out an inner wall that they need to breach in. Now this is probably the most valuable tip I can give you. Protect your improvements. You don't know how many games I'm actually winning but just attacking the improvements with a redstone launcher, where enemies try to defend everything else but their improvement. The moment I attack your improvement, it's very hard to actually get a comeback. You can protect it even with a protector tower, and just make sure that it's not easily accessible. Put it in an area where, for example, near the sea, if you have a sea at the back where enemies can actually build structures there, they can try, of course, to attack from there. Maybe double wall it, stone it. Just make sure to protect it well, because if it's down in any reason, not just with a redstone launcher, you're going to be in trouble. Now right now, as of time of making this video, iron and redstone improvement are the best right now, because they lead to the meta related items and structures, so try to focus on them. Sometimes you don't go with redstone launcher, go with iron. I think it's the best resource right now. If you're gonna focus on redstone, of course try to get to redstone first, but again, those two are the best right now. Again, at least when it comes to if you need to prioritize what you're actually building first, which everybody does. Get the building a BEETLE as fast as you can, and the reason for that is because this is just the best one for PvP. If you can easily climb walls, even if they don't have any gate, you can just climb about everything. You can easily escape, you can traverse first over water, you can jump high on trees, you can even jump and fly and not actually getting fall damage. Actually, this is the best one for PvP, so make sure to get it if you can as fast as possible. When your enemies onto you, when you want to traverse this, always use the speed width. It gives you certain extra speed that allows you just to save time. More time, basically you save more time to do other things that are important for the game in order to win. Now, I'm using the topography to my advantage all the time. Whether I'm, for example, looking for an elevated place to kind of observe and see where actually enemies are, the moment I know actually their location, it's much easier for me to pull up some really crazy strategies. Now make use of topography to your advantage. I do it all the time. When I'm flanking, for example, and I see that there's a mountain, I can just go and put spawners there and attack from above, or I can just observe and see where enemies are located. If I know where they are located, I can easily create a strategy. I mean, I won't create a redstone launcher, for example, if I see that there are two enemies are right now very close to me. I can also observe, give me high elevation, I can actually observe the base, see where the important structures are, and attack accordingly. And also it gives you an option to search for a weak spot as well in the enemy's base. Two important things: don't waste ALLAYS for resources that you see that are not needed, because then you need to go back and get them, and if not, you're far away, they still need to finish, you can actually collect them back. And the other thing, don't make them just do nothing, stay. Like I have two, for example. It's better for me to go just outside, for example, and just make them work, so you can get more resources. Even sometimes it doesn't matter which one, as long as they are doing actually something. But of course, you need to prioritize which resources are needed most. Make sure to use plain golems in the base. The reason for that is because you can create many. They are pretty cheap, you can get them very early on. Now make sure you have quite a plain golems in the base. The reason for that, again, you can spawn many of them. They are pretty cheap and you can do this early on. And just in case the players get in with lots of mobs, if you get a player, they can't control the army anymore. So basically you neutralize them. But again, this is if it's possible. Sometimes players will just move around and let their mobs do the thing. Sometimes it's good to prioritize the mobs rather than the player. But always note, if the player is kind of, you know, just standing there and try to toy around with you, try to eliminate the player if you can. Now use MOSSY golems, use the healers. I see so many players not using them. They make your ally stay on the game so much longer compared to without. Now make attacks in different locations if you're an attacker. Be unpredictable. I'm doing all the time. I actually drive them mad and crazy. They don't know where I'm going to attack next, and this allows me to give me more time to actually you know, spend their time trying to locate me or trying to locate my, you know, where I'm putting my stuff, and give more time to think about surprising strategies. Basically, don't be predictable. The only reason I want to do this sometimes is that if I wanted to put structures in a certain location, compared to another one that I want to attack. So I'm just going to confuse them. They're going to build structures in another place, and another place is going to be empty for me to attack from. Now when you're designing your base, always consider the important structures that you need to put there. For example, if this upgrades, you need to put a protector tower. If you have lots of arrow towers in the front, kaboomery, make sure to have space. Otherwise, again, you're just not going to make good use of it, and you're just going to put it in any empty place that is available. Right, so very important. Keep in mind if you're the one who actually staying at the base, defending the base. Now make use of traps. There's so many players who don't even touch this thing. This is great, especially if you build around, for example, very sensitive areas like gates. You can use traps, and you can even wall it so it won't be actually easy to access, so it continue working. It can work even behind walls, so if enemies try to breach in, they're gonna see that their minions are kind of get stuck, frozen, and they will try to breach otherwise. Basically, it buys you more time. Very, very good items, and not that expensive, by the way, so use them. Now I did a mistake, by the way, when I first started playing. I didn't pay attention. I was building my base, didn't pay attention at all to what's actually happening around me. Always pay attention, always spend a few seconds looking. Sometimes it's going to be too late. The enemy is going to be like almost close to a base near your base, and you didn't pay attention to it. Always pay attention, look for them. Try to communicate with your teammates if you can, to tell them where enemies are located, or ask them to communicate with you where they are located. Really, this is so important. If the enemies were more aware, by the way, of me, I wouldn't have probably won many of the games so easily. Now if you are getting to mid to late game, you can use the stun tower. In my opinion, this is the best tower in the game. The reason for that is that it can pass through walls, because it happens on the ground. It can stun in 360 degrees all around it, and basically it really can protect you by pushing enemies out and just buys you more time. And this is amazing, by the way, for surprise attacks. When enemy try to breach in, it just gives you more time to actually react. The problem with it, they need to put it in a good strategic location, and sometimes really don't pay attention to it because it needs space. So if you build a tight base, you're gonna find that you don't have space to put it. So if you want to put in, you see that this is type of game, especially when the meta will stabilize and there won't be like very insta kills up with the redstone launcher, it will be much more important structure to have. So you need to make sure that you have space around it so we can actually affect the entire area around the base, probably very close to the center of the base. Now when it comes to creepers, I don't see players actually using them. Listen, they're amazing. I know you're gonna lose them after you use them, but again, they are for specific situations. They can be used to quickly eliminate redstone launchers. If you just rush with them, you advance control, you send one to destroy maybe a wall, the other one on a redstone launcher, the redstone launcher is gone. If enemies come with lots of mobs, you can just have them kind of, you know, as an SOS, so you can, when they breach in, you can easily eliminate them. And trust me, if I try to breach in and I see creepers, I definitely won't attack. I will go to another side, or maybe it's going to deter me completely, and I try to think about a different strategy. Then when you start creating a base, start with a tight base, by that building a smaller one, because the reason for that is very easy to create structures that actually support it, like stoning everything, and you can actually double or triple walls instead of creating really a big base, because space really, it just makes everything easy for the players. I know it might be good down the road to have it, but it's basically better start small and expanding outwards. Usually you're gonna see me like doing like double and triple walls when possible, because it's cheap, and again, especially if we have a jungle nearby. Now when you're at the base, you can actually respawn allies. Keep in mind, don't do a panic respawn. The reason for that is it happened to me when a player actually have some doing something in somewhere in a remote location, just respawning everything, like when maybe that player tries to surprise attack with lots of golems and just pulling everything in. So if you do that, it's only really for emergency. So make sure you design your base so you won't actually need to do a kind of panic respawn and spawn all of the allies towards your direction. Now, use advanced targeting. You know how many times I'm actually just sending a single mob, a single minion just to attack an enemy base, just to distract them? I use it a lot. I can actually send one here, one there, one to the other direction and just confuse it, rather than sending everything and being everything predictable. Because what you're going to see in many situations, that your opponents will bring all of their minions to a single location. Why? Because they need to rally them. And most probably they don't use advanced control in order to do that. So if you're doing it, you can really kind of play mind games with your opponent, but just using advanced control and sending 1 or 2 minions to a certain location rather than all of them at the same time. And of course, this is not good for breaching, but it's good to kind of play mind games, and especially if you're strategizing with your teammates, it can be very, very good to confuse the opponent team. Now, if you're fighting your opponents, keep in mind, if you're close to the gate or your mobs are close to the gate, you're going to open it automatically. Don't give it, because what the opponent will do is just going to rush in and that's about it, and try to target the inner walls or your base. This is, by the way, a good reason not to put allies close to the gate, because what I can do if I'm attacking the opponent base, I can just get in with my brilliant beetle, get their attention, get them close to the gate, and they will open it for me automatically. And if nobody is there, well, it's gonna be probably game over very soon. So these are some important tips that I hope you are gonna embrace, at least some of them. And yeah, I'm gonna make more, so if you like it, give a like, and I'm gonna make more tips, and some of them advanced tips for players who want to really kind of make the most out of their strategic play and win more matches, basically. Thanks for watching. Cheers.